Good Thursday morning. Between the Slicks is live, and well, I'm glad to be live and back on my own show right here on the Monday Morning Racer platform. Also, good morning to you that are on the CompetitionPlus.com Facebook page, the Drag Racing Connection Facebook page, Twitter, and also on YouTube. Wherever you're at, hit that like button, hit the share button, and dive into that comment section and let us know where you're watching from and how you heard about the show, how you heard about Monday Morning Racer. Let us hear what you think about what happened at PRI and what we've got ahead of us in the future in the world of drag racing. We're going to have Jackie Fricke on here very soon. She is the guest for this morning edition of the 153rd episode of Between the Slicks. Always enjoy talking to Jackie. She has been out there in Top Alcohol Dragster for a while now. As a matter of fact, it's one of those situations where I can't think of Top Alcohol Dragster without Jackie Fricke. So we'll be talking with her in just a few moments. She finished the season top 5 in the world in Top Alcohol Dragster. A couple of national events, done well on the regional scene. Also, looking forward to chatting with her concerning her season, her team, and what she sees 2023 as a competitor and the outlook on 2024. After we talk with Jackie, we'll go over some drag racing news and dive in on matters concerning PRI that have not been covered, I would say, in great detail. There were announcements around PRI that did not happen at PRI that want to dive into and bring up and just have the general discussion with you all out there in the drag racing world about what you thought concerning PRI later on in the show. If you want a comprehensive rundown, the best rundown that I have encountered of PRI and the announcements, I highly recommend listening to Brian Loans and the NHRA Insider podcast that dropped. He's got an interview with Buddy Hull on that one, but he does a rundown of some of the top announcements and dives in on some that were overlooked, even though they are very important announcements. So the NHRA Insider podcast with Brian Loans, that's a great asset to learn on NHRA what was announced at PRI. And PRI was great. It was a great PRI. Probably the best PRI I've had. They just keep getting better and better since I first started attending 2 years ago, and was able to host the Competition Plus Power Hour along with my co-host, Darren Williams Jr., American Hot Rod Entertainment, the assistant editor for CompetitionPlus.com. He's doing a fine job, but was able to pop in, pop out, do the shows, working for McKinney Corp, their first time at PRI in many, many years, and it was a good showing for McKinney Corp. Thank you to Tim Wilkerson, Buddy Hull, Tyler Hilton, Artie and Sarah Allen, Lex June. I don't think I'm forgetting anybody. They swung by and gave of their time to be there with the McKinney Corp. They are in McKinney chassis and McKinney cars, and just interact with fans, and interact with Murph. And right now, very glad, got the McKinney Corp social media page rolling. There's a lot of activity there. If you're not following along, make sure you go and follow McKinney Corp. This show brought to you by McKinney Corp this morning. And we're going to keep you updated on what's happening in the shop there at McKinney Corp in Lafayette, Indiana. A lot of great things. I think there's like 6 funny car chassis right now, from Tim Wilkerson to Chad Green, Jim Whiteley, and others there in the shop. Phil Ez, Matt Gill, and Artie Allen has got both his Top Fuel dragsters up there being front and back half. Jacob McNeil, the newest owner-driver in NHRA Top Fuel. He has his chassis now, which was Buddy Hull's chassis in the shop. It's going to have its updates to it. And then so many other things beyond drag racing happening in McKinney Corp that you can see on the McKinney Corp social media outlets. So on Facebook and on Instagram, be sure you are following McKinney Corp when you get an opportunity. Well, we're going to switch here in just a few moments and talk to Jackie. I want to give a shout out to someone else in Top Alcohol Dragster, and that is Ron Anderson, Dr. Lip Bangs. He keeps me looking good these days. I'll try to bring it into focus. Is it going to focus? Oh, no. You can see it, though, right there. The oil, the beard balm, and then this is probably the best gift he gave me, a cedar comb. I did not know how nice a cedar comb was in a beard, but I will not go back. I used to just use the good old plastic combs. This one's got a little bit of wear and tear. As you can see, it's seen better days. Great for the top of your hair, but not so great for the beard. They pull, they yank. This thing is smooth, gets everything straightened out, works great with the blower dryer, and then you apply the oil and the balm. And I will say that the Dr. Lip Bangs products, no joke, I am not just saying this because he gave me the products. They are the best that I have used. I've used Duke Cannon. I've used Duluth Trading. I've used Cremo. I've used many other products off the shelf, from high-end stores to your local convenience store and what Pilot is carrying out of the travel center. And what he has got is the best. The oil, I don't have to use a lot of it for it to be effective. That's a sign of a good product, especially in beard oil, in my opinion. And then the balm itself. One thing I love about it is the scents. This one in particular, cedarwood, not overpowering. You can smell it, but it's not overpowering. And then something that happens with many beard balms is when you put them in your hand and you begin to rub, they ball up. And you got to find those little balls and then press them even further and then put it in your beard so you don't have these glumps in your beard. That's not the case. His product, very smooth, rolls out. You can run it through your hands and then put it in the beard, and it applies evenly. So, great product. If you are thinking about, as I had one actual Top Alcohol Funny Car driver reach out to me, hey, I need to get some beard products. Well, Dr. Lip Bangs is the place to go for your beard. Thank you all for watching. Looking forward to getting Jackie on in just a few moments. Hey, the Not Bland Show, Mr. Dujanay Bland, check out his show as well. Give him a like and a follow on Facebook. Thank you for chiming in, sir. We're going to take a break. Right after the break, the most interesting gal in Top Alcohol, Dragster. Yeah, we were talking before. That's going to keep following her. We'll talk about that. Jackie Fricke, right after this word from Destroyer 1320.
If you own a beautiful modern muscle car like this 1320 Challenger, I'm sure you don't want it stolen. Because the Challenger and many other modern vehicles have an easily accessible neutral release strap. That was your coin holder in your center console, and beneath that there's this red cord that someone can pop, put it into neutral, and potentially easily steal your car. But at Destroyer1320.com, they have the TDS, Theft Deterrent System, which is a cover over that strap using factory mounting points so that you don't get popped by a thief. So make sure to go to Destroyer1320.com using promo code MMR for 15% off and get your Theft Deterrent System, TDS, and steal the thieves' hope.
And now live, first ever appearance on Between the Slicks, Jackie Fricke. Jackie, good to have you on. How you doing this morning?
Good morning. Thanks for having me. I'm doing very well. Thank you.
Well, let's begin with that thing that's going to keep following you, this interesting comment that you made after your incident at Woodburn. Look, if you're in Florida at a drag strip, a beach trip might sound like a great day, but a beach trip out in the middle of, in essence, what's desert of Oregon is not what you want. How did that double regional go for you all, and in particular that run out there?
Absolutely terrible. We, last year, I think we were in the final of both races. And so we decided to go back, had a great trip there, won Seattle last year. So we were like, yeah, we have a sponsor that brings us out there. Nighthawk Sweepers. Yeah, we're going to do it again. It'll be great. Started out, went 525. Nobody was close to us in ET, and it was downhill from there. We shook. It was just a bit of a disaster. And then I finished it off by going off the end of the track. I was late against Madison Payne, knew I was late. And I am pretty good with my routine. Where I shut the car off and stuff like that. I was determined to pass her, and I did, like a thousandth of a second after the finish line. So I was a little late on the chutes, and drove it about 0.2 of a second further, which doesn't seem like a lot. but when the chutes don't open, that creates a problem. So ended up going off the end of the track, and my family can attest to you that the only place I'm calm is in a race car. And my comment, and Ty, one of our crew guys, had the 360 GoPro on, and my comment at the end of that was interesting.
Yes, instead of the classic exploratives of shock in such a moment, we get interesting, and yeah, it's going to follow. I can't wait to see how many more people use it. I was able to use it in Seattle in some interviews. I think I even used it in the Victory Lane interview at Seattle. What is it with you East Coasters out of, in essence, the Northeast, almost New England, if not New England proper, doing so well on the West Coast? What have y'all figured out? What Kool-Aid are y'all sipping out there?
I know, it's crazy. I do, as a team, Fink Racing, and I think this just leads right in with my personality. Make things as difficult as you possibly can, and then try to succeed at them. And going out to Seattle, John lets us put one race on our bucket list, and last year it was Seattle. Well, we went out and were able to get a sponsor to bring us out there, and we were fortunate enough to win. So obviously we were going to go back this year, and we tried some stuff in the clutch. I had this idea that I wanted to try, and John let me try it, and it looked like it was going to be amazing. We came out, we were low ET, number one qualifier, won the race, and after that, my idea didn't go so well. So we ended up bailing on that after a few races. But I do love racing out west. Just, I don't know, just fortunate enough to do well out there.
Well, this year, another great example, did exceptionally well out there. The national event at the Northwest Nationals up there at Seattle, and then the national event wrapped up on Monday, the Nevada Nationals there in Las Vegas. So 2 national event wins out there in the West Coast. I think that's the 2 national event wins for the whole year. Is that correct, or was there another one I'm missing?
No, unfortunately. I mean, fortunately, we had 2 from a girl who never thought she'd win a round in this class, and it did take me 1 full calendar year in my blown car to see a win light. So I'm nothing if not persistent. And like I said, I never thought I'd win a round in this class. Forget about, the things we've been able to accomplish.
Oh, you've certainly been able to accomplish a lot. I say it often, and it's true. It's a true statement. You are a perennial championship contender. When you all show up, you are a threat to win any race in which you do show up at. But another interesting question that I've got for you is, in who you have to face, how much do you despise the color green at this point in your career?
Yeah, it's not my favorite. I mean, it was this year especially. It was just, no matter what we did, we made the wrong call. And um, from it started, I think, at the divisional at Maple Grove. And, I grew up watching Rich Sr. run Alcohol Dragster. So he was, one of the people that I admired and, looked up to. And like I said, everything we did against that green car this year, it was not enough. And just testament to them, and makes us want to try harder. And like I said, it was it was 2 back-to-back weeks. We were in the final at Lebanon Valley, our car owner John's home track, and I thought, okay, we lost lane choice. Unfortunately, there was a pretty big bump in the right lane, and I had told John at the beginning of the weekend, if we face them in the final, basically lane choice will determine, how hard you can push the car. And we made a mistake in the semis and lost lane choice. And but I thought, okay, you can still make it up on the tree. Well, I think I was I mean, I don't think I've ever been more psyched for a run. I think I was like 38 or 39 on the tree, and I lost on a hole shot. And I was like, I can't even, I mean, normally I can't even be 39. So I was like, I mean, focused, laser focused. And I lost on a hole shot because he was like 33 or something. Then my husband leaned in the car. The next week we had them at Norwalk national event. And he said, do exactly what you did last year. And I mean, last week, and your win light will come on. I lost again by like 0.003 of a second. And I was like, God, you know, and they proceeded to beat us for the region championship. We had won it the last 3 years. I think, yeah, 20, 21, and 22. And they beat us for the region championship. And we didn't really perform well enough to be in contention for the world. So I was, like I said, we tried stuff in the middle of the year, and it looked like it was going to work really well. So I didn't want to give up on it. And John finally told me at Dallas, your chances are up. We're going back. So I cost us some races that, you know, maybe could have went better, but Julie really earned the championship. They drove well. She drove well, especially down the stretch with when the pressure was on. She drove really well. And Randy's always got a good car for his drivers.
She certainly did drive well in some high pressure moments. You know, over this off season, I hope to do some top alcohol moment videos to kind of keep top alcohol in the discussion over the off season. I think one of the top moments is U.S. Nationals. Her and Tony Stewart. Whoever comes away from that, they got the points lead and that little bit of edge in the championship hunt. And you know, she was able to turn that win light on. I mean, that was a big moment to. Let's go race on Monday, or that case, Monday, and get it done here. So big moments there. And it seems like whether it's Doug Gordon, you look at Doug Gordon's season or you look at Julie Natus' season, that the game is right now in top alcohol, you need to win early and don't get yourself in a situation where you have to get up to speed and gain later in the season. Is that where we're at in this class right now?
Totally agree. And I 100% I agree in that both in the year we lost the championship by one round, we did well early and then faltered in the middle, and then I say faltered, you know, didn't win as many races as or round as we needed, and lost it by 1 point. But yeah, winning early it puts the pressure on everybody else, and it makes people fear you a little bit more. And Doug Gordon, you know, prime example. And I will say that Maddie Gordon, I believe she'll be just as good behind the wheel. She'll do a great job. I'm a big Gordon girl fan, and I look forward to Maddie jumping behind the wheel and doing really well.
Oh, she's going to do phenomenal. I was up there and witnessed her licensing at Brainerd, and it was spectacular. You couldn't tell it wasn't Doug in the car. Like if you didn't know Doug, like what he looked like, you just knew the car and didn't realize he was standing next to it. You'd think Doug was in the car. It was that spot on. So she is going to be phenomenal in the class. And I think, you know, bringing up top alcohol funny car, I think she's going to be good for the class as a whole. They haven't had someone like a Maddie Gordon. You know, top alcohol dragster gets all the attention with the Jackies and the Julies and the Taylors and the Madisons. And finally, you're going to get someone like that for top alcohol funny car. So I think that's a good thing. We got some people chiming in saying that the Not Bland Show Jackie is definitely one of the greats in a loaded top alcohol dragster class. I agree. And Justin Ashley, happy belated birthday, man. And we were just talking about you before the show, says Jackie is a class act. They have a great team and have been consistently towards the top of a very competitive top alcohol dragster class. Yes, that is the truth. Again, perennial championship contender. That competition, though, you've been in this class for a while, and I think it's no joke to say that it is the most competitive that it ever has been. But your take on how it has got to this point. Why is it so competitive in Top Alcohol Dragster right now?
Well, that there's a good and a bad side to that. You know, the rental program is you know, at an all-time high, and you can get in an alcohol car. Cody Crone at the beginning of the year, you know, stepped in and you know, was good on the tree, and I think he was in his second two his first race was Belrose, and I think he was in the final of both Gainesville events. You know, them not necessarily, like I said, you know, it took me a year to win a round in this class, driving a blower car, and it's a little bit different. You know, blower cars are without question harder to drive. You don't see a ton of people taking the blower car route. I personally loved driving a blower car, but the parts attrition and you know, stuff like that, it just doesn't make sense. And I joined John Fink's team, and they obviously, you know, utilize the nitro combination. But you know, the people stepping into this class have made it unbelievably competitive, and made me, I mean, Justin Ashley was one of the first ones to step in that stepped up the reaction time game. And, you know, now all of a sudden, as we were talking about before the show, 70 is not a good light. And I know we're doing some stuff to our car over the off season to try to pick that up. And, you know, I brought in some of my bracket racing friends at the end of the year saying, like, is this me? You know, I don't understand. You know, I run a lot of numbers in the delay box and, you know, stuff like that. So John has kind of taken a look at some things on the car that we can make quicker. And because every thousandth of a second, you know, like I said, I lost to Matt Cummings a couple times by a few thousandths of a second this year. Just that green car, and had some good races with Tony Stewart. I'm glad to see him go. I wish him well in Top Fuel. I kept telling him he'd look good in a funny car because he said he didn't want to compete with his wife. So that was like our running joke all year. Did you license in a funny car yet? So pretty cool to see him go to Top Fuel. He'll do unbelievably well. He, the last natural to come into the class before Tony was definitely Justin Ashley. Cody Crone did really well at the beginning of this year. You know, people are forced to step up their game. And, you know, if you want to be competitive, we started 2 weeks after the off season, you know, after Pomona, to start working on things because we don't want to settle for fifth.
I'm sure that there is this place within Jackie Fricke that is like, I want to finally get this thing, and I'm sick and tired of not getting this championship. You've been a regional champion multiple times, and that is a championship in its own right, but it just doesn't carry the notoriety and the recognition that the world championship obviously does. And you've been close. I mean, obviously an epic battle that people go back to, Rachel Meyer, you, and it's winner take all in an elimination round there at Las Vegas. You have been there. You've been close. And you've got, you know, this year y'all finished fifth. You've finished runner-up. You've finished in other places. You've had high-pressure moments. You've won them. You've lost them. What do you feel like right now in your career and with your team? What needs to take place to finally put it all together?
I think just a little more fine-tuning. We had some parts breakage this year. I contributed to some of our downfall with, you know, some of my stubborn ideas that I didn't want to give up on. And John's awesome in the respect that, you know, I always preach, if you sit still, you know, you're not going to get any better. And he's awesome at letting me try some stuff. And he's an unbelievable tuner, and he doesn't need my help at all. But, you know, we kind of tuned together. And I really feel like we're focusing on a lot of the little things over the off season. We went through 2 weekends ago. We had a work weekend. I live 3.5 hours from the race shop, so made a lot of progress, a lot of plans for next season. We're going to test an unbelievable amount in the off season. We're going to test at Bradenton, and we're also going to test at Gainesville or somewhere else, because Bradenton is such a good track. And we've been able to, we went 5:11 in testing last year, and a bunch of 5:10 runs, but there's not that many places where you can replicate those runs. You know, there's not a lot of Bradenton racetracks out there, and you don't, the hot weather and the Seattle racetracks and the changing conditions at Vegas are a little more what you're faced with over the season. So we also want to test, at a not Disneyland track. So we have a lot planned for this year, and I'm hoping, I'm hoping we can finally reach our ultimate goal.
Not Disneyland track. So are you saying like run down Coney Island? No, I'm joking. of a track. And look, you mentioning tracks, you're up there in the Northeast and, grew up there and you're familiar with that area. It's been hit hard track wise. We lost Atco this year. There was some, jockeying around for where that regional and divisional would take place. Certainly, I think it landed a great home with Maple Grove. But when you look at Division I, and I think even hit harder Division II right now, the East region for you being in Top Alcohol Dragster, it's in a rough spot. What are your thoughts on the region itself, looking at it from a Top Alcohol Dragster's perspective?
Thankfully, people like Jimmy Halsey, Kyle Koretsky, the Koretsky family has done a phenomenal job with the racetrack. Jimmy Halsey stepped up, and I'm hoping he gets the support that they deserve for their regional. We've had some people, like I said, really step up. Epping promotes the hell out of our divisional. We get a ton of fans. So it looks bad, but heartbreaking if you looked around my office, which is very racing centric, like my life, but there's Atco Raceway, my first $5,000 race to win $10,000 races, that being gone, a track that I grew up with, grew up and made a lot of memories at. It's kind of heartbreaking, but it makes you realize, support the tracks that want to support you. My nephew's down in Bradenton right now for a bracket race. I've been watching nonstop. Accelerated Travel hasn't gotten a ton of work done the last 2 days because my nephew's been going rounds. It's kind of fun to watch, but the Bradentons, the Maple Groves, the tracks that step up to support the racers need to answer back.
It's a good point. Good point. It's not just, promoter, track owner, provide for me. The racer does have to give back. And then I'd say the fans got to give back. And I would say the media's got, it's a cooperative effort. Everybody's got to, give back. If you are a track owner, I think media should be getting in for free. But the kickback to that is media should be showcasing the track and its pros and why this is a good place to come race and experience racing wherever that might be. So, yes, it is a cooperative effort, and we need it. We need it. Good to hear. I didn't realize with Halsey that they're in the talks for, a regional. That's good news. That's Cecil County, right?
Cecil County, yeah.
Okay.
Jimmy and Kathy are my customers from PDRA, and we talked a lot about. I was at the regional or the divisional with my family this year, and I was like, "Why not alcohol?" Yeah, and he said it has to make sense, and it has to make sense, and it's a business. They're not in it to provide fun for us. Right. Everything is a business. Every single aspect of motorsports is a business. So, I'm hoping they really get the support that. We I talked to the division director, Craig Curdy. We tried to come up with a good weekend. It's over Mother's Day weekend. It will be done on Saturday, so everybody can spend time with their family, but that's kind of where it fit in. And he took a little bit of a gamble, and I really hope that it pays off. They put a great catch net in at the end of their track. And I grew up in the area where Maple Grove, Atco, Englishtown, and Cecil County were an hour from my house. When I bracket raced, I raced Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Saturday, Sunday, and and occasionally on Friday. My nephew Corey is following that path this year. Has his dragster together, and I'm like so proud of him. I'm like his biggest cheerleader. Excuse me, because he's making it on his own. Him and his brother drove to Bradenton this week, which was the kind of stuff I used to do. So supporting those tracks to me is, they're not there. The Koretsky's have stepped up. Look at all the money they've put in, the time, the effort. Karen Koretsky is back there making food, doing the food and the sweets. Kyle making test passes to make sure the track's okay for everybody. It takes all of that. But then on the other side, if the racers aren't going to support them, and the keyboard cowboys out there that want to bash, and you got to kind of look in the mirror. Well, why would a racetrack want to stay open? And Atco Raceway, although it broke my heart to see them go, who wouldn't take that kind of money? Like, show me realistically, show me somebody that wouldn't have taken that money.
I know.
I own a business. I'm not in it. I don't sit at my desk for 10 to 12 hours a day, for the fun of it.
Right. I think of the Bandemiers when they announced that they were selling that property, and they've been doing, I think this year was their 65th year. They ended on their 65th year. I mean, that entire family gave 65 years to drag racing, and honestly, in particular, at a high level, NHRA drag racing. And you have people making statements as if they are owed something. I'm like, no, they've given you plenty. And if they never build that track that they said that they intend to build, if they never build it, they have done plenty for drag racing, and they're due all the accolades and what they earned in the sale. It was theirs, and their sweat and their blood and their tears and their effort for that place.
100%. And I, like I said, being a business person, it's funny because I always wanted to own a drag strip, and it probably, if it wasn't for my husband, I probably would have pursued that a little. I don't want to get divorced. I'm happily married. So, he doesn't love drag racing as much as I do. I would live at a drag strip. I was trying to convince, my one nephew went home from Bradenton this week. I was trying to convince my husband that it was a good idea. I didn't want him down there by himself. And Camry's down there bracket racing, and I could dial her from there. I should definitely go to Florida. I can work from anywhere, and my nephew and Camry are going back to the race right after Christmas. And it just happens I'm going to be in Florida, and I definitely will spend 2 or 3 days over there. I eat, breathe, sleep drag racing, and I always wanted to own a drag strip. And then I guess reality with the people who are so negative and, like you said, kind of feel like they're owed something. I don't get it. I don't, anything I dive into, it's 100%. A lot of it is racing, but I mean, I don't think there's many people out there that support more than Alcohol Dragster more than our team. Go across the country and give everything, because we want these tracks to still have us. There shouldn't be short fields, and it's a balance, I guess, because I can tell you, I was quite angry with NHRA at the US Nationals. I had brought a sponsor in and was parked in a dust bowl that I couldn't bring my sponsor to the racetrack. I said to John, we can't bring them here. They would never want to sponsor us again. And it was a big sponsor that had never been in NHRA, and NHRA did not respond whatsoever until it was way too late. And to me, for a team that supports you a lot, that didn't really sit well with me. So it's a balance, but the local tracks, they're open. Go support them. Go watch their drag racing.
Right. You mentioned that you bring that U.S. Nationals story to light, and I think also of the Nevada Nationals in Las Vegas and how it was handled. I think that is one that's going to be brought up for several seasons to come. I had Sean Bellemere on 2-3 weeks ago, and I count Sean as almost, not almost, but really a spokesperson for Top Alcohol Funny Car. He's one of the best to ever do it. He's with one of the top teams out there, and if Sean says it, you can believe it, and it carries some weight. Right,
he's earned a voice, and he uses it very. Anything he says, Sean's one of my go-to bounce-off ideas guys, and Sean and I were parked next to each other at the Nevada Nationals. So continue what you were saying.
Well, I asked him, I said, there has been this issue with Top Alcohol, Funny Car, and Dragster on treatment. And I realize you all know that you're not on the top of the card of the event. We get that, and you all get that. But he realizes that, and even though with that realization, he felt that treatment this year went downhill compared
to other years. Did.
I was surprised. And okay, you're saying,
100%.
It seemed like it was going in the right direction, and then this year, the idea that what I gather is it tanked. What happened?
I don't know what happened, but I can tell you that the alcohol people in general, we nominated John Fink to be our sportsman representative, and he basically asked me, "Why did you do this to me?" Me and the girls, we race. Half of our team is females, and I don't mean the mechanics. I mean, my sister Amy comes racing with us. Tori is just about at every race. My niece Mackenzie's coming. Our motorhome at any given time is Camry. My sister, it's full of girls. John had no idea what he was taking on having me as a driver, but we have a family full of females. And they do a ton for Fink Racing. Taylor does social media. She can't come as much now because her and Vincent Nobile have their little baby. Vincent's getting back into Mountain Motor Pro Stock this year, and we're all excited because he'll be traveling to more national events, which will entail Taylor and the baby traveling. So, super excited for that. Our family, there's 4 girls. We all married racers. The children all race or are involved in racing. My one nephew, Colin, is, really engrossed in golf right now. He's just about the only, but he also raced stock this year. So there's no one in my family. I would say Kenzie is the only one who hasn't made an actual pass down the track, but she works for Natalie Torrance doing social media. But our whole family is engrossed in drag racing. And so there's a lot of opinions and stuff. My husband is really good about staying neutral and showing both sides. Even he, had to say this year, the treatment, the fact that they were running exhibition cars that needed the track cleaned up, and our rounds got scrapped. When there's championships on the line, there's it really did. And I try to be, anyone that knows me, my glass is like 98% full, but the alcohol classes in general, we're kind of out on our own island. Like they want to promote it when the Tony Stewarts and Angel and they're very welcome. Great people. good for the class, you know, all of that kind of stuff. But, you know, kind of a little better treatment would be a lot more appreciated, because it's really expensive to run these cars, and it's really hard to find sponsors, and then harder on top when, you know, to show my Nevada Nationals win on Monday with not a fan in the stands. That's a hard sell to sponsors, you know, and they try to hide the fact. And you did a great job. To be honest with you, I interviewed myself after the semifinals because I'm a complete goofball, and Amanda's mic was there. So I picked it up, and I'm not very good at interviews. So I said to my team, hey, here's my chance to not screw up an interview. And I picked up the mic and interviewed myself, you know, and they were like, okay, can we go back and get ready for the final now? You know, but that's sad that, you know, not one person could have stayed, and, you know, just that kind of stuff. It's tough when you're spending this much money and this much time and this much effort to run this class. It's hard. It's hard to swallow. And like I said, you know, bringing a sponsor to Indy, someone that could have been really good for our sport. I mean, it was a really good fit. It was a good, I don't want to give it away because I still have, you know, talks with some people there, but we had Courtyard by Marriott on the side of the car for that event. And well, I guess I just did give it away, but, you know, it's sad that NHRA cares that little. I was in 4th place in points right there. The rule of thumb used to be top 10 on pavement in Indy. And instead, I was parked outside the gate in a dust bowl, like I said, that I couldn't bring sponsors to. So that's, you know, and the worst part about it is, pick up the phone, listen to me. Like I said earlier, no team supports Alcohol Dragster more than Fink Racing. You know, we attend the most races, and that's not belittling anybody. I mean, Randy Meyer, the McPhillips, you know, all of those people. But look at the scorecard. Look at how many events we attend a year, and to not even get somebody to listen until Sunday of the race, when I tracked somebody down and said, you've never heard from me. I am not somebody who goes to the tower. I'm not somebody who ever opens my mouth to the negative. We need to talk.
Right.
So,
right.
Kind of disheartening.
Fascinating. All right. Well, hopefully things will turn around. I know that I briefly had a conversation with Brian Golick and Top Alcohol Funny Car. He's like, yeah, about to go talk with NHRA. I had a brief conversation with Rich McPhillips Jr. and he was like, yeah, you go talk. I'm like, I'm not talking. I want to hold a mic. I don't want to talk. You know, and so, you know, but yeah, very interesting, the chatter after 2023, looking into 2024 on treatment. And I mean, I will say, covering with intent this year alcohol, I learned how much you all are jerked around, because it jerked me around. And like, I'm in Norwalk. Norwalk was one where I'm attempting to get the interviews that I like to get before the finals, and there was no point, because the turnaround was so quick. There was no reason for me to get interviews, because there was no time for anyone to do it, for me to gather it, and to walk back, get in the stands, film all that kind of stuff. It was a madhouse for sure.
Yeah, it's, you know, I'm doing what I love. I'm living a dream. That side of it is unfortunate, and I really do hope it changes. You know, I have a lot of friends that are announcers, and this may not go over so well, but when the announcers are telling people when alcohol comes up that it's a good time to get a drink in the stands, somebody being strapped in that car, these are fast cars that are, you know,
quickest and fastest in a quarter mile right now.
Yeah, and not like, well, if you're going to head out, no, don't head out. We have the fastest cars on quarter mile about to go down the racetrack,
Yep.
not if you're going to head out. So there needs to be a change, you know, and like I said, I'm listening to myself saying, Jackie, you never bitch about anything. Like, I'm not that person, but there does need to be some change, you know, for all of the people spending their lives supporting this stuff. I do want to touch on, you know, the Tony Leah announcement last week was phenomenal for motorsports in general. I didn't attend PRI. I chose to save it for a work weekend at the race shop, and my news feed on all of my computer sites blew up with Tony Stewart going to run Top Fuel, and the negativity that surrounded that, I do not understand. To me, people just must want to be negative in general, because what that brought to our sport, and people that didn't see that, the sportsman racers are the sportsman racers. You know, you're a sportsman racer. You know that a stock eliminator car is not going to get much TV time. You know what you're signing up for. And everybody does within their means. Like I said, my nephew racing at Bradenton this week, he's never aspiring to be on TV or a major announcement for NHRA.
Right.
So the negativity that surrounded that, I don't really get it.
It is fascinating. Now, I have took the stance on the many shows that I've been on and done in talking about it that one, people misconstrued the announcement. You have those out there perpetrating the erroneous statement that they said the biggest announcement. No, they never said the biggest announcement. They said one of the biggest. And when you look at the impact, they're not wrong, honestly. And I think Brian Loans made a great point about what is NHRA social media. NHRA social media is not aimed towards a Jackie Fricke. It's not even aimed toward a Lee Craft Monday Morning Racer. It is aimed toward the person who might watch 2 national events a year, being Indy and maybe the first one, now the Gator Nationals, and is that casual fan, and attempting to draw them from their casuality to a stance of intent in their fandom. That's the point. That's the purpose of social media.
My husband said it best. He is a NASCAR fan, and I don't know anything about cars that make turns. Zero interest, not my thing. I'm all in on drag racing, and that's all I have. But he put it really simply. NASCAR has 40 million fans. Those 40 million fans know all too well who Tony Stewart is.
Yes.
Cool. To me, it's funny. Tony Stewart came into our class, was a normal dude. I didn't really know anything about NASCAR Tony Stewart. I really didn't, that's not my thing. I don't pay attention to any of that stuff. But normal guy, fun to joke with, had a, camaraderie with. Leah attended a bunch of the races, good people, normal, whatever, just people in the alcohol class. 40 million people know who Tony Stewart is.
Yep.
Drag racing has what, 1 million fans? If you can get 10 of them to switch over, it's a win for motorsports.
It is a win for motorsports. It is a win for drag racing. And, you look at there's this top 100 list that came out of the top 100 viewed motorsports events in America. The number one viewed event was the Daytona 500. It was like 8.5 million viewers. The second was the Indianapolis 500, just behind the Daytona 500, with like 1 million less viewers, if I remember correctly. And then the top 20 into the top 25, all NASCAR properties from Cup, Xfinity to Truck Series. The first NHRA property is the Maple Grove Countdown event with the NFL lead-in and lead-out that sits about 32nd on that 100. Okay? So when we get a news blurb, even though, yes, I personally would have liked for them to have worded it a little different, like, one of the biggest announcements in Top Fuel, that would have been cool. But you cannot underestimate and devalue that the Washington Post, the New York Times, USA Today, ESPN, Sports Illustrated, yeah, we got it.
And you know what they all had in common? NHRA drag racing.
Yes.
It's a win.
It's a win. It's a win. It's a win. Just like Tony Stewart stepping in the top alcohol dragster. That was a win for the class and bringing some more eyeballs. And I will say there were times that people put a little bit of hyper focus on Tony, and that's fine. But nonetheless,
He earned it.
He earned it, and it elevated the totality of the class as well. And kudos to Tony. He has been so respectful of drag racing the whole time. You know, he could have been in a top fuel car way sooner than 2024. And he has been, I think, rather humble in estimating his own driving abilities. You know, you said it earlier. I know Randy Meyer gave some great praise, and I was talking to Randy about Tony and my own eyeballs. I've been watching drag racing for 30 years now. I'm 35, so we'll give me from 5 and going to national events. And he's one of the quickest pedalers of a dragster I have ever seen. He can drive.
Yeah, 100%. I lost a pedal fest to him in Dallas. And unfortunately, I was ahead, but my car was heading towards the wall. So I had to, it just and you want to talk about a humble guy, like the guy, I have a bunch of friends at Safety Safari at the end, and they were like, man, you did a great job, because the car was like, it hiked the front end up. I said, I know. I was just angry because I had to lift because it was going towards the wall and I couldn't steer. So Tony joked, man, you want to drive one of my sprint cars? And I was like, yeah, I'll drive anything, but just, you're 100% right. He came into the sport. The very first conversation I had with him at Vegas a year ago, we ran each other, or he was the pair in front of me, or, something like that. And I said, you're pretty good at this car racing stuff. I've been watching your reaction times. You ought to try this for a living. And, just joking. And he goes, man, I'm just trying to fake it till I make it. This thing's, it's going so fast. And I said, great. You're trying to fake it till you make it. I hate to see what you are next year. And lo and behold, he came out stronger this year. So I don't know. I think people should just spend a little more time being positive in the world.
I completely agree. There's so many, especially with drag racing, there's so many signs that drag racing is moving forward, especially, and it seems strange to say this, and with everything that transpired during the pandemic, and as terrible as it was for so many, when you look at it for drag racing, it might have been what drag racing needed to get it in a direction that it needed to go into. Because I think overall, not just NHRA drag racing, because, I cover from PDRA to Funny Car Chaos and Nitro Chaos and beyond, it's moving forward and it's moving upward. Now, we might still disagree on the speed of it moving forward and upward, but there's so many good things right now in the sport, like Mission Foods coming on board, Camping World staying, but in a different way as a sponsor. When was the last time you heard that a primary decided to stay, even though it's not going to remain the main primary sponsor? I mean, that's good news. You've got TV deals being worked out, so on and so on. So definitely, I think great things for drag racing. Well, Jackie, look, I've held you very long here this morning. Few more questions. We're going to let you go. You mentioned that you're kind of a 98% glass full type of gal earlier. And you seem like you're the fun one out there, because it's not too long. Jackie's got a red Solo cup in her hand, and she's got her hat on sideways and doing funny poses in Victory Lane. I won't show those pictures. I've got those in file, though. Remember that. And, talk to me about Jackie and the fun side of racing, and you as an individual and having fun. It seems like you can have fun out there.
My family would tell you, I definitely know how to have fun no matter what I do. And drag racing is a huge part of my life. But in my business, I have fun. My family jokes when they come back, they want to come back as me. And I'm like, no way. I already have that totally reserved. Like, I'm so fortunate that I enjoy every single day. Life is short. I want to make sure it counts.
I like that. Yes, it is short. Let's have fun while we are here. What's the drink of choice? What is Jackie's go-to?
Grape vodka tonic. John Fink will tell you, before I joined the team, nitro was the most expensive, and now vodka's inched it out a little bit. But
okay.
A funny story about the Vegas when my nephew was there, my husband was there, we celebrated Vegas big, huge. I thought it was a good idea to get on a bull at Gillies. Yeah, really.
Is there video of this? There gotta be video somewhere.
There is. And I told my husband, you're totally fired as my chaperone. What the hell? Like, and I definitely every day begins, and I want to know what kind of fun I had at the end of the day. Love to smile, love to laugh, and do a good job of enjoying the life I live.
Well, look, let's have some fun at his expense. He chimed in on my weight loss photos of all the weight that I've lost, and he's like, "Man, what do I got to do? I got to start. I got to lose some pounds too." So has he started? Has he started on keto or something yet? Tell me.
We exercised this morning. We went out for dinner last night. I had broccoli, and he had a salad and grilled chicken. We've been exercising. That's one of my goals, is to lose 10 pounds over the off season. And he's been better at it than I have. So I need to step up my game. I think I'm only down I had lost 5 or 6 over the season. And it's really hard after 40. And now I'm approaching 50. I'm like, oh. So we've been getting serious about the weight loss, but he's better at it than me. He can just say I'm going to lose weight and take off the pounds.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good. I'm glad to hear that he started. We'll keep up on that progress, because I'm still in it myself. I still got about 40 pounds I want to lose, and it's hard work.
Phenomenal.
It's hard work. So
yeah.
And here recently, the best thing is I have figured out a way. I've done most of it while traveling, doing 70,000 miles going across the country. In the last 3 months, I maintained. And what that does tell me is I found something that I can do and enjoy, and I don't gain or lose. And that's important, to find that, instead of being up and down. So
I know. I have a terrible metabolism, and I can gain 3 or 4 pounds in a day. And people were like, "No, you can't. Oh, that's water weight." And I'm like, "No, you don't understand."
Right.
So it's just something that I battle, and hopefully by the first of the season, I'll be down to, my car's a little bit overweight. And when your car owner, when you ask where you can take weight off of, and he says, "Driver,
first thing, driver."
Really good feeling. Know you're driving for a really good friend there, because anyone else you'd be like,
right. Yeah,
that's
driver.
Why I call Think Racing my forever team.
Well, Jackie, look, definitely cannot think of Top Alcohol Dragster without Jackie Fricke in it, and Think Racing. You all keep up the phenomenal job. We're pulling for you all. Go out there, get that championship in 2024. Before we let you go, take the time, plug sponsors, plug your own business. Let everybody else know what it is you do in the world of drag racing, kind of behind the scenes, not holding a steering wheel, but maybe clicking on the mouse.
Yeah, I'm actually, it's the only place in my life I'm serious. Accelerated Travel is my business. I started my business when I was 19 years old, and decided I didn't want to work for somebody for the rest of my life. Put myself through college, and Accelerated Travel does travel through the industry of racing. This year we've taken on PDRA and become the travel agent of choice for their employees, racers, stuff like that. I have plenty of NHRA pro teams out there, bracket racers, pretty much anybody you can think of. We're doing a racers cruise in January that has 100 people on it that I'm pretty proud of, and we're going to have some pretty cool stuff on the docket for that cruise. Like I said, I center my life around fun, and being a travel agent helps that, not to mention I can work from anywhere, and it allows me the racing. So Accelerated Travel, it's www.acceleratedtravel.net. And without my sponsors, Lucas Oil's been behind us for a ton of years now, NGK, JE Pistons, VP Fuels, Think Equipment, one of our biggest sponsors. We've had Nighthawk Sweepers this year, We had BOMAG. We're hoping to have BOMAG come on in a bigger area this year. We've been doing specific hotel sponsorships in the different areas because Camry Caruso has taught me a ton about sponsorship and putting myself out there, which I'm not really good at. So thanks, Camry, for pushing me. You know, the girls do an amazing job with social media. Maple Grove Raceway is on the side of our car. We're proud to promote all the things that the Koretsky family is doing, and you know, really try to get them the recognition they deserve. It was awesome to see them win Track of the Year. I can't think of a family more deserving that puts, you know, like I said, Karen Koretsky coming out of the kitchen to watch Kyle run the final on Monday. Just, you know, hardworking family, and I love to see hard workers succeed. And my family, they obviously they don't sponsor me, but you know, we're a huge racing family, and our group chat, you know, we're cheering on. My nephew had 2 entries in 3rd round this morning. You know, we were all up at 7:45 when they were going to start, and I'm just fortunate enough to come from an amazing racing family that we all support each other and, you know, love to do it together.
Jackie, congratulations on a great year. Top 5 in the world, finishing in 5th there in Top Alcohol Dragster competition. Thank you for your time on the show. Have a good rest of now your afternoon. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it. And thank you for all that you do to cover the alcohol classes.
Or did
you
I
bring
freeze?
A ton of awareness to the classes, and people that I bracket race with have asked me this year, who is that guy? He does a good job, you know, so that's pretty cool. Thank you for everything.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Look forward to doing it in 2024 and maybe making it a little bit more official with the NHRA. I got to call a few people. So we're going to do that. We're going to do that.
Merry Christmas,
Thank you, Jackie.
everyone. Thank you.
Merry Christmas. That was Jackie Fricke. We're going to take a quick break, and after the break, we're going to get to some of your questions that I have not got to yet. This word from McKinney Corp bringing you Between the Slicks this morning. Now, afternoon.
At McKinney Corp, we do far more than just fuel funny cars and top fuel dragsters in the world of drag racing. For example, Jerry Bickle race cars, we provide them with the tanks on those race cars, and with this beautiful Larry's Jeffers race car machine, we in fact manufacture at McKinney Corp the button latch on the door car, and you can find many door cars with that latch. It's a private label that we create for Larry's and others, but you have McKinney Corp producing parts and pieces from tanks to button latches for the door car scene. Let's check out some more McKinney Corp assets and products here at PRI. Ron Capps debuted this beautiful funny car at the U.S. Nationals in 2023, bringing the old school with the new school Dom the Snake Prudhomme tribute car, and he was able to go on and win the U.S. Nationals in 2023 with this great throwback scheme. But McKinney Corp, though did not build this chassis in particular, did build the fuel tanks that Ron Capps runs in his funny car. One of the best fuel tanks in the industry, and beyond in the fuel ranks, you will find our fuel tanks in many other rides, such as even Antron Brown's Top Fueler. We're not done with what McKinney Corp does in drag racing. Let's continue at PRI. It's always cool to see Dale Worsham hit the track, and he hit the track at In-N-Out Burger Pomona Drag Strip in this beautiful CP Carrillo funny car. This very body was mounted at McKinney Corp headquarters in Lafayette, Indiana. In fact, we have a dedicated jig at our facility to mounting funny car bodies. So if it's a new body, old body, we can help you in mounting your funny car body to get funny car racing. Beyond Dale Worsham and Alexis Joria, Tim Wilkerson, Chad Green, we build their chassis, we mount their bodies, we assist them in their funny car operations and beyond, even into the alcohol ranks. As we like to say at McKinney Corp, they drive the drags. If you need anything for your drag racing operation and beyond, contact McKinney Corp.
And back here between the slicks. The Not Bland Show did ask concerning the divisional and regional matters. Doesn't South Georgia Motorsports Park here in Valdosta area host a regional? No, it doesn't. It hosts a divisional. So it does get a little bit confusing within the NHRA. You can have a divisional, but not have a regional. But when you have a divisional, you'll also find a regional with the divisional, and the regionals, or the region, that nomenclature within the NHRA, if you will, is specifically tied to Top Alcohol Funny Car and Top Alcohol Dragster. So when you look at the divisions, Division 1, Division 2, Division 1, basically the Northeast, including Virginia. I've always thought that kind of weird, but it works out. And then Division 2, the Southeast, they comprise the East region, Top Alcohol Dragster and Top Alcohol Funny Car. So you would be a driver in Top Alcohol Dragster or Funny Car from a particular division competing in a particular region. It gets a little confusing. It's kind of weird. But for the region that Jackie would call home, the East region, their regionals next year: Gainesville Raceway, Cecil County Raceway, as we were talking about, Maple Grove Raceway, Lebanon Valley Dragway, New England Dragway, and then Virginia Motorsports Park. And when I look at that list, I do see a glaring missing piece. And one of those is, well, we don't have Atlanta Dragway anymore, and there are hardly any drag strips in the East region that are in the Deep South. You've got Gainesville, and then the rest of these, except for Virginia Motorsports Park, are north of the Mason-Dixon line, except Cecil County might technically be right below it, but it's right on the line. But Cecil County, Virginia Motorsports Park, they're not that far. You're not talking about Deep South. So we're going from Virginia, we're going from right around Richmond to Central Florida, and there is no regional drag races in the East region for the East region competitors in Top Alcohol Dragster and Top Alcohol Funny Car. And I know for some Top Alcohol Dragster competitors, that is something they do take into account. Talked with Megan Smith, Rhonda Hartman Smith and Bodie Smith, John Smith, Megan Smith, she is now competing, and they live down the road here in Anderson, South Carolina from me. Their shop's right around the corner from my house, right across the street from Anderson Motor Speedway, in fact. But you have a situation where they're like, wow, we wish we had a track near home. And a track that I would love to see get a look, a sniff, if you will, is Rockingham. Rockingham has made tremendous updates. I really need to talk to that new ownership. We need to get them on the show, talk to them, and see what they're doing and what they've done and what their plans are. But I would love to see NHRA regional drag racing at Rockingham again. We've seen national events. We've seen all-star events, if I remember correctly. Obviously, IHRA held national events there. They have made huge improvements at that track. It would be neat to see a regional at that place and get another drag strip in the Deep South, if you will. South Georgia Motorsports Park, excuse me, is another great candidate as well. As Jackie mentioned, though, it's got to make sense for the tracks. And when you do have the alcohol cars come in, there is a matter of purse that has to be worked out. And that is one of the challenges, if I remember correctly, from holding and or not holding a regional. It's got to make sense for the tracks as well. Not just the region, not just the NHRA, not just for the competitors. It's got to make sense for the track. Let's move on to some drag racing news this afternoon, and then we will wrap up this 153rd episode of Between the Slicks. In drag racing news, again, PRI. We just wrapped that up. That was this past weekend. Had a great PRI. Myself, a lot of big news was dropped, and we're not going to recover everything that happened at PRI. I've talked about that, day of on the Competition Plus Power Hour. There is a great comprehensive breakdown from Brian Loans on his NHRA Insider podcast. I do want to talk about a few things surrounding PRI. Ooh, excuse me. And not necessarily things that were announced at PRI, and we'll keep it with the alcohol slant. My buddy, Trevor Larkin, he is making a switch and making some moves in top alcohol dragster. He has been in the class for a while now and has been racing with Greg Racing. And I spoke with Greg of Greg Racing, and he mentioned that where he is at in life and business, going to do some switches and some changes. And you've got Trevor making a change as well, and he is going to drive for Chesley Motorsports, Redline Oil backing him, and you see Mechanics Wear and NGK, others as well, along with him making this move and this switch. And he's going to be able to get into a car that is going to be more competitive. If I remember correctly, the Chesleys were running low 40s and into 30s, so they're a team that can definitely give Trevor an opportunity to turn some wind lights on. And Trevor is one of the better levers in the class. He worked on that. He is a solid driver and an individual out there in the sport that I would love to see him get some more exposure and notoriety, turn on some wind lights and get that exposure. He's doing it differently, and yet he's doing it old school. He's doing some neat things out there. Check Competition Plus on the YouTube channel. We did an interview with him back at the Winter Nationals, talking about him and his program and his goals. And he is at least a second-generation driver. His dad drove Top Fuel back in the day, and now he's out here in a Top Alcohol Dragster making his way, and certainly a cool dude. And he works in a very cool industry. He's actually in the TV industry out there in California and Hollywood. Yeah, he's out there like literally in it. So interesting guy. Enjoy talking with Trevor and pulling for you, man. Good moves, and hope that partnership works out and that will be productive for everyone involved. Now, continuing with the news. Sorry, excuse me, I'm coughing here all of a sudden. Fuel Factory is now the official fuel of the World Drag Racing Alliance, the WDRA. They have made that partnership, and they're moving forward with it. And Fuel Factory continues to increase its brand and what it is doing in the world of drag racing. They are sponsors with Megan Meyer. Speaking of Megan Meyer and bringing up her via the Fuel Factory announcement of being the official fuel of the World Drag Racing Alliance, speaking with Megan briefly, she's still not sure where she's going to drag race in 2024. They're still trying to find a place. I certainly hope that Megan finds that place and she's able to get some drag racing done, at least some match racing with her and her partners. That would be great to see, her and her sister as well. I hope that works out for them wherever they might land and wherever they might race for 2024. The rest of Randy Meyer Racing, certainly a full slate with Julie Natus and Hunter Green and many others in and out of those rides, as Julie Natus is going to attempt a defense of her world championship here in 2023. Continuing with the alcohol ranks, made a big push for folks to go out and vote for top alcohol driver of the year. And I even made mention that this is an individual that would have been worth voting for as top alcohol driver of the year. And he also was able to earn person of the year, and that is Tony Stewart. Congratulations to Tony Stewart for picking up top alcohol driver of the year. He certainly, excuse me, if you may put it, rookie of the year in top alcohol dragster, finishes second in points standing for the world national event wins and regional wins. and stellar performances. And I think it is fitting for Tony Stewart to pick up that honor as top alcohol driver of the year. And then I made a big push for everyone to vote for race car builder of the year, and in particular, McKinney Corp. We weren't even on the list. I'm still a little upset about that. We better be on the list next year. But Jerry Bickle Race Cars won race car builder of the year, and we certainly at McKinney Corp are excited about that, because when you look at a Jerry Bickle race car and you find the tanks on it, you're looking at McKinney Corp produced tanks. So we are glad that they are customers of ours, and we're glad that they were able to win race car builder of the year. And when you look at their fine race cars and you see the tank, you're seeing a product that was built by McKinney Corp. And we congratulate them, and we'll take a win with a win where we can. Win's a win, right? I think that's what all these young bucks say today. Win's a win. Not Blanchot says, man, that's why we need more tracks in the South region. I agree. I would love to see them at Rockingham. That track looks amazing with the upgrades. Yeah, just, I'm not saying that we need to take, again, the list is, so Gainesville, that's Florida, Cecil County, Maryland, Maple Grove, Pennsylvania, Lebanon Valley, that's New York. That's around like the Albany area, if I remember correctly. It's downstate, in essence, just about, of New York. New England Dragway, that's Epping, New Hampshire, and then Virginia Motorsports Park, obviously Virginia. So from Central Florida to Central Virginia, there's a big gap with tracks like South Georgia Motorsports Park and also Rockingham that I think would be very good fits to host a regional event. Now, you'd have to work it out with division schedules as well, because I don't know of any tracks that hold just a regional that's divisional and regional event. So you'd have to work it out with that as well. The only example might be Woodburn. They have a double regional. They're the only one doing that out there in Oregon as well. But yeah, I would like to see Rockingham. I'd like to see South Georgia Motorsports Park. Would like to see another drag strip hosting a regional in NHRA drag racing for the East region, but in the South. I think that would be a good move. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in this morning for the 153rd episode of Between the Slicks. I'm looking forward to kind of get back in the grind of Between the Slicks and continue to chat with the people in drag racing that are movers and shakers, and those movers and shakers that you might not hear from as much as many other individuals in the top echelons of the sport. I talked with Leslie Horn, was originally going to get him on the show. Leslie Horn is the new owner of the Southeast Gassers Association, and he was not able to be on today or tonight because there are meetings taking place, even here in Anderson, South Carolina, for the Southeast Gassers Association tonight, and discussing the future and where it's going, and I'm excited about that. So maybe next Thursday, we'll have Leslie Horn on, chat with the new owner of the Southeast Gassers Association. And he's no stranger to the show. We've talked to him many times because he is a competitor in the Southeast Gassers Association as well with the Chick Magnet A-Gas 55 Chevrolet. He's been on several times and comments often on the show as well in the comment section. Looking forward to having Leslie. We'll have Tim Hall on eventually as well. We'll talk with the champions of Southeast Gassers Association, and we'll continue to chat with the top 5 in Top Alcohol Dragster and Top Alcohol Funny Car. It's my aim and my goal. We talk to each and every person of the top 5 in both categories before we get to the first alcohol fire up of the year, which will be Belle Rose. And let's see, the West region and the Central region have, yes, so No Problem Raceway and now Firebird Motorsports Park, they will have the first fire ups for alcohol in 2024. So by February 23rd, let's hope we have all of the top 5 in both categories on Between the Slicks. We've already had Doug Gordon. We've already had Jackie Fricke. We've had Sean Bellemere. So we're making our way through the list. Join me for those upcoming episodes. Thank you for watching. I'm Lee Kraft, the Monday Morning Racer. This has been Between the Slicks. God bless, and keep the pedal to the metal.
Power-Built Tools exemplifies innovation in the tool industry. From hand tools, power tools, and even tool storage. Check out powerbuilt.com for Power-Built Tools. And remember, use promo code MMR15 for 15% off at purchase.